With the Notre Dame Fighting Irish set at the number 9 spot in the college football playoff picture, Marcus Freeman and the Irish went into Saturday's game knowing that they still had to make an impression. And with one last game on their schedule for 2025, they realized that they had to go out with a bang, especially given with all the chaos that ensued after the Irish were done. These stories and more on this edition of Talk Like a Champion. Welcome, Irish Nation. Thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday as Mr. CeeLo is joining you here. Of course, you're talking with the one and only Mr. CeeLo. Hope you guys are doing great. Want to give a big Irish shout out to my daughter who turned 3 on yesterday. Happy birthday, baby. Daddy loves you. Yeah. Definitely was a good day, and Irish eyes were definitely smiling as my boo-boo turned 3 yesterday. And us Irish Nation, it was a wonderful day, wasn't it? But before we get into the business, guys, I got something I want to share with you. If you guys haven't watched the show, we have our first sponsor. He builds it, fixes it, breaks it, and then lifts it again, and then builds it again. The world calls him a man. We call him the effing man. TF Man, the lotion made for hands that earn it. Crafted from grass-fed tallow, squalane, and grit. No flowers, no fluff, just results. You know, for the type of man who shows up and just gets it done. The one who doesn't need a filter, hashtag, or permission. He's not just a man. He's the effing man. And now he has the lotion to match. TF Man, the whipped cream tallow from LV. Made from grass-fed tallow, squalane, and pure grit. No chemicals, no perfume, just hard-earned hydration for hands that build, lift, and live. LV is an all-natural skincare product rebuilt for real people. TF Man, because being the effing man means taking care of your own damn skin. Gentlemen, I must tell you, this is a product that you guys will not regret taking. I think on the last previous shows I've forgotten to put the QR code up on the screen, but I am not going to forget this time. Just remember, when you go to the LV website, if you use the code FRIENDS20, you'll get an additional 20% off. Check these people out. They do some great work, and they all do it themselves. The owners are also the workers, and it's American owned. Believe me, gentlemen, there's nothing more attractive to a lady than having $1 million skin and smelling like a effing man. Now, let's get into business. As you guys know, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish had just one more opportunity to prove to the College Football Playoff Committee just what they were made of. And fortunately, they got a show. Now, the score is not going to indicate a lot, but when we look at what Notre Dame was able to do, a lot of people are going to say, well, it was only a 22-point win. Correction. It was more than that, but Pittsburgh actually called 2 timeouts with the Notre Dame second unit out there just to get this touchdown. So, needless to say, his whole nonsense about losing 103 to nothing was a crock of. So yeah, there are those out there that just
stop the cap.
They cap for no reason, and yeah, he has no integrity. And like I said, that's why many people, not just around South Bend, don't respect him. He's not a. A lot of people will say I'm not here to make friends and this and that, but realistically, you don't have to make friends just to be truthful. I mean, let's call it what it is. Pat Narduzzi, just in my opinion, he's just in a class by himself. He's like Urban Meyer and a lot of other coaches that are a-holes, and that's what he is. So that's why if I was Marcus, if I had a chance to deal with him, I wouldn't. So he's just that guy. I'm sorry. There's a persona, and then there's, the way this guy handles situations. But anyway, that's for another day, and I'm not here to complain about him because he's got enough issues when they end up losing the next 2 games and finish the season at 7-5. As for the Irish, this Pitt game, you got to give Pittsburgh some credit. They did finish with 17 first downs compared to Notre Dame's 20, but they were 0 for 13 on third down conversion. So it wasn't the fact that they were able to convert third downs. It was more along the lines that Pittsburgh was able to move the ball efficiently on first and second down, and Heinzel was actually pretty impressive with his legs, not so with his arm, even though he threw for 149. But Notre Dame's defense was stifling. It was so good. And, seriously enough, you see the 2 interceptions that C.J. Carr threw, and you would think, and this is how impressive Notre Dame was defensively, that they got 2 interceptions. One went back for a touchdown. And what's crazy is, Narduzzi would have been shut out had it not been for that. Because Notre Dame's not going to give up that touchdown with the second unit out there had they been up 37-0. So the committee needs to look at it like this, and I hope all you guys who are joining also look at it like this, because C.J. Carr, and I'm going to be honest with you, if Denbrock doesn't stop calling this crap, when you have intelligent safeties and whatnot, you cannot run these plays. This is the second time he's had a screen pass like this intercepted. You can't do that. And he almost had one picked off in the A&M game. Take this out of the playbook and throw it away. Throw it into Lake Erie. Does not need to be ran anymore. Outside of that, Carl was absolutely stellar. He wasn't tremendous, but that's what Jeremiah Love is for. And I don't want to talk about Jeremiah Love anymore, and it's not a bad thing because I get it. He's a gifted player. He is so flipping gifted. But ultimately, you have to. 23 carries, 147 yards on a score. I hope this is going to be it for his heavy workload, at least until the playoff. I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, we want to get him the Heisman, yo. No. He's not going to win the Heisman. I'm afraid not. As much as people keep wanting to throw him in there, so many people are throwing him in there. I've heard his name all over ESPN. I've heard it all over Fox Sports. I've heard it all over CBS. He's great. I get it, but he's not going to win the Heisman. It's not like it used to be a running back-led league. He'd have to go for 200 the next 2 weeks and then have 300 yards receiving and then have 10 more touchdowns. Look what Ashton Jeanty did last year, and he still didn't win it. But I guess there's a difference when they actually love you. I love this kid. He is such an awesome player. He's got such a wonderful attitude. In that long touchdown run he had against Pitt was just absolutely off the charts. Like I said, 147. He's got over 1,135 yards on the year. Leads the league, the nation in touchdown runs, I think. I have to double check that, but Jadarian Price, 8 carries, 21 yards. Outside of the 56-yard run, I mean, he would have had 22 carries for 93 yards. That still would have been an okay day, But like I said, Price seems to be in his own head a little bit. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate, but that's what it seems like. CJ Carr had 21 of 32, those 2 interceptions. But I got to question the offensive play calling. Why is it that we wait until we get 2 offsides before we take shots? When are we just going to take shots? I mean, look, Pittsburgh was blitzing. I get it. But that's when you run underneath stuff with the deep stuff. You can't have 4 routes that are short plays. You can't have 4 routes beat this guy. We have to get out of this way of thinking. If we don't get out of this way of thinking, we're going to get beat in the playoff. What makes Notre Dame special in the eyes of so many is the deep plays. And they can't come because we draw somebody off sides. That can't happen. We have to design some plays where we take those shots. And Malachi Fields. That 100 grab. Y'all already know that's going in to either the opening montage or the last one. So guys, don't tune out of my show without watching the montage. Just an absolute. Guys, I have told you, if the quarterbacks allow these guys to be themselves, they can absolutely ball. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Fields, 7 for 99. Once again, another receiver not cracking 100. Had 2 touchdowns. Eli Raridon, 6 for 67. Twice he had a shot at a touchdown. I agree with Tyler Wojak on this Eli Raridon touchdown thing. Oh, my goodness. You just ache for Eli Raridon because he's had such a great season, and you want nothing more than to see this guy succeed and do his thing, because ultimately, if he's actually doing a great job, you want to reward him. You most certainly want to reward this guy. You want to give him his opportunity and give him a chance to get in. You want to give him a chance to get in to the end zone. You shouldn't go 10 games and your star tight end has not gotten in the end zone yet. I just don't, see that. Especially when you've got guys like KK Smith who've gotten in the end zone. Will Pauling's been kind of cold lately, but I'm hoping they're saving him for later in the playoff. And then we've got, of course, Jaden Greathouse, whom we still haven't heard from. They're saying he's, still battling a hamstring injury. But you gotta look at that Notre Dame defense, and oh my gosh. When you start looking at a defense and you say, okay, they gave up 219 total yards and only got 1 turnover, but the big turnover gave you 2 points. You have to be happy about that. And I mean, this looked like a jog fest halfway down, because it looked like Don Shula was running out of gas. And I really didn't like the fact that we're watching announcers criticize how the defense is playing, but yet they're not doing it on the opposing side. Look, don't say the officiating is bad on one side and don't say it's bad on the other end, because the Notre Dame defenders were just as physical as the Pittsburghs. They were. So let's stop that right now. But needless to say, I was so impressed with the way these defensive backs for Notre Dame were able to cover. But the secondary wasn't just the only unit that I was impressed with. When you start looking at the way this football team has performed on that defensive side of the ball, you come back to when Chris Ash, and I heard this during the broadcast, Chris Ash seemed like he was trying to get this unit figured out. And he was trying to get it established as not only his unit, but he was trying to establish which guys were going to rotate, which guys fit well in his system, which led to 7 tackles for losses, including 4 sacks, as Josh Burnham is just absolutely on a tear right now. He is just playing lights out. He had 3 tackles on there. And then Jalen Sneed, who rolls over his performance against Navy. And Tay Johnson, probably the best move that Chris Ash could have made. I don't know if it was Ash or the defensive backs coach or even Marcus Freeman. When this guy got moved from and Luke Talich pulled out of the starting lineup. No disrespect to Luke Talich, but coverage is not his specialty. You love him when he's in the short passing game or in the short run game. He had an interception, but he didn't get his agility ain't there. But I love his size. But he had 3 tackles, and 2 pass defense. If he was a little bit faster, he'd be the perfect defensive back because he's 6'4". Leonard Moore, of course, and who got flagged for PI once or twice. I think ultimately when you play in these Mickey Mouse leagues, and I ain't trying to call the ACC a Mickey Mouse league, but the officiating is bad. The SEC allows you to get away with everything except as long as you don't yank him. Well, there's times they do let you yank them down. But, when you look at this the way this game was played, Don Shula had big plays, also had a sack in this game. So you don't get any better of a stat line than what he had for the day. You get a sack, interception, return for a touch, 2-point conversion. And probably the one guy that you thought would have had more of a presence was Boubacar Traore. But realistically, when they know you're going to be the guy that they're going to come after, that's what they're going to do. Now, Bryce Young had 2 pass defense and arguably should have had an interception that possibly could have been brought back for a pick 6. So more than likely, he is going to see that in his dreams because that ball did everything except stick to his jersey. So, yeah, this was a situation where if you're Bryce Young, you're not happy because you ultimately wanted this opportunity. Most linemen don't get an opportunity like this ever, but he got it and he didn't take advantage of it. But, when you really start looking at things, you always want to be able to say, okay, we won the middle 8. You can't really say Notre Dame won the middle 8s, but you can because they did score with a $1:43 left. They scored a touchdown, and then they scored a touchdown on the first drive, which really put the game out of reach because before Notre Dame took over with about 5 minutes left, they drove down the field. It was a 14-3 game, and we talk about on my shows, all of them, how important the middle 8s are, and it's so important that when you get this opportunity, you take advantage of it. And, it goes back to this is always how it's been when you take an opportunity to get the ball back in certain situations. That's what you want to do when you defer the kick. That's what you want to be able to do is hope you have the ball in that opportunity to be able to win the middle 8s. And Notre Dame did that. So with Notre Dame being able to steal that middle 8 advantage, this game went from being a 14-3 game with about just over halfway gone in the second quarter to being able to put this game all but out of reach. So, in a sense, you doom Pitt because now Pitt has to go for it ensuingly on their drive in which they got inside Notre Dame territory deep and were unable to do anything, which in turn Notre Dame went for it and turned it over on downs after they went down. But of course, needless to say, when you look at how this game turned out and what we wanted to accomplish, we somewhat accomplished what we wanted. CJ Carr's just got to be more vigilant when it comes to being able to make those short throws. I mean, if he has to check out of it. I'm really tired of those throws at the line of scrimmage. They don't do anything for us. They've done very little. I mean, I know what people are saying. That's a situation where you want to be able to control the line of scrimmage and make them defend the whole field. Look, if it's got one guy out there and you got 3 guys out there, hey, that's cool. But I would prefer you go back to the opposite side. Fake it one way and go back, go back the other way. That's what I would prefer that to do, because honestly, that play has not done much for us this season. I want to see more shots. That's what I want to see. I mean, and it, like I said before, no more of that, offsides and then you go for it. I don't want to see any more of that. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it when it happens. I'm just saying we got the guys that can do it. If Malachi Fields hasn't shown you, Mike Denbrock, that he can go down and get it, if Will Pauling hadn't shown you, if Kike Smith has not shown you that, look, what's going to win the national championship for us is being able to go down the field. What's going to win us the national championship is teams being afraid to put 8 and 9 guys in the box. We have to be able to do more with less. And what I mean by that is we got to be able to do more without necessarily having to do so much. We got to make this a big play offense. Only against the inferior opponents have we been able to do that. We didn't show that very much against A&M. We didn't show that very much against Miami. We did show it against Arkansas. We did show it against a little bit against Pittsburgh, but the reality of it is it can't be that no risk, high reward type thing. There's got to be risk involved sometimes in order for you to be great. We got the guys to do it. And when you get against teams like Ohio State, you get teams like Georgia, Alabama, and the Texas Techs, you're going to have to take shots, especially if they're going to stack 7 and 8 guys. We got to get accustomed to faking the handoffs, sending guys in motion. Look, I'll tell you right now, we got the weaponry all over the field. We've got the unique type of players where we can do that. It shouldn't just be Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price running the football. It needs to be guys like Malachi Fields touching the football, Micah Gilbert, KK Smith, Jordan Faison, who only had 1 catch in this game, along with Will Pauling. These are guys that can touch the ball from the backfield. It has to be a situation where we're out there doing what we do, but we're doing it differently. I hope, like Tyler Wojak said on Locked on Irish, that we get to a point where we start putting Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price outside on the perimeter together. And reason why I say that is everybody knows that they're lining up outside, but you bring them back in. You can even put Jadarian Price in the backfield and then bring in Jeremiah Love to play in the slot. The guy has phenomenal hands. I'm waiting on that nasty wheel route. I am waiting on it. The nasty wheel route down the field so that can be Jeremiah Love's welcome to the NFL. If he can get one of those, Denbrock, if you're listening, if you run a wheel route, throw it deep to him, and he catches it for 6, you will have locked him up as the number 1 wide receiver. You will have locked him up as the number 1 draft pick. Guaranteed. Because if you get a running back that can do that, I'm telling you, from a guy who loves to watch NFL, you got you a number 1 draft pick. A lot of people say don't take a running back, but you take a multi-dimensional player, a utility guy, as your number 1 overall. I promise you. Even though the Jets or, I'm trying to think who the worst teams. Titans. The Titans definitely need them. The Titans need Jeremiah, but they also need a line too. So yeah, he definitely doesn't need to go to a team without a line. But guys, I must tell you, like I said, I am absolutely stoked about our defense, stoked about our offense. KVA, once again, it was Kingston Villamawasa. It was funny listening to these guys mispronounce his name. Not funny to him, but it was funny as a whole because, needless to say, these guys, they try to do their production work, but unfortunately it's not working out for them. But once again, I am proud of CJ Carr, but he's got to do better. And then, Brock, you got to stop trying to protect him. Look, our receivers don't need to run this simplistic stuff. CJ Carr don't need to run it. He's graduated past that. You run plays like this with quarterbacks that can't read. CJ Carr does not have this problem. You just have to ring him in a little bit. And stop thinking that we got to drive the football. If you back them off the line, guess what? They'll be able to run. Just saying. But guys, let me know what you think about Notre Dame's 37-15 victory. Oh, I almost forgot. There was absolute chaos last night. You guys know what I'm talking about? Absolute flipping chaos last night. But let's go through it real quick, shall we? You had Louisville go down to Clemson. You had Oregon win big over Minnesota. Indiana won big. Texas A&M had one of the largest comebacks in SEC history. A historic comeback. They were down 27 at one point. Michigan skated by Northwestern. Our guys, Navy, pulled off an upset of South Florida, which pretty much ends their hopes. Cincinnati fell to Arizona. Oklahoma with a squeaking victory over Alabama, which is very interesting to us. Texas Tech was able to blow out Central Florida. Georgia Tech pulled a big squeaky win over Boston College. Remember how everybody was telling us we was this and that? Yeah. Iowa nearly upset USC. So USC was able to pull that big win off and stay in it. Whereas Duke was destroyed. No, I ain't going to just say destroyed, but they were put in check by Virginia, 34-17. And then the big one was Texas just absolutely getting dismantled in Athens, 35-10. I think that pretty much puts Texas out of this thing. Ohio State big win, 55-28. Utah over Baylor. Ole Miss was fortunate to hang on against Florida as Florida gave them a fight. We'll see how the committee looks at that. Tennessee 42, New Mexico State 9, and then Miami with a big win over NC State, 41-7. So, guys, I will be back with you maybe Tuesday, maybe before Tuesday. But, guys, stay safe out there. Let me know if you have any comments. I did not have any more comments on my show. So, definitely keep it coming, you guys. You know, I love listening to the dialogue. And just make sure that you are keeping an eye out, whether it's this show or your other favorite platforms. And make sure you comment on the show and let me know what other content creators are saying about my show or what they're saying that's obviously different from what you guys are hearing. Because ultimately, like I said before, I get a lot of material from other people and I get my, I don't want to say inspiration, but if they say something that's completely asinine, I have to comment on it, you guys. There's no way I can do that. But I have to go with Brad. You know, Brad, my boy, is always compliment me, say congrats on the first sponsor. Appreciate you, brother. Love you too, bro. Stay warm. I definitely am. You do the same, but it feels good today, y'all. Indeed, Irish Marine, yeah. Indeed tried to join the Big Ten back in a 30-year period. Know your history before you spit those ignorant words. Absolutely. Yes, we want Indy so we can go 4-1. No, you don't, Brad. He says, I smell like a effing man. No, you don't. Did you get LV yet? No, you don't. Y'all beat the dogs one time. No. We own the last one. That's all that matters. We don't care about their history. What we talking about is modern history. You know we don't do old history. We do modern history. You bleed red, white, black, and with gray pants. Ugh, that is so... Ugh. That's ER colors. Yeah, you missed that one. You missed that one, bro. You can't hate Notre Dame forever. You're going to have to jump on this side because we're going to start running things real soon. We're going to be running things real soon. Amen to all the men and women that serve the USA. Thank God. God bless y'all. Thank you for all your service. Thank you, Brad. Yeah, for sure, brother. Definitely. Appreciate all y'all out there that serve this great nation and continue to give your lives for the great freedoms that myself and many of us enjoy. So grateful for y'all. The Format Podcast. Thank you so much for coming out and telling the truth over and over. The anti-Irish won't listen, but guys like us, always Irish and more, have to continue to tell it. Keep up the great work. I'd love to collab with you on my show, The Format Podcast. There you go, people. There you go. Format Podcast, I will be in touch. Thank you so much. Mr. CeeLo will be in contact. The Talk Like a Champion podcast and the Format Podcast would absolutely love to do a crossover. So we'll see if I can get my stuff up to level so that we can do this. Let's go, Pitt. Brad, come on now. Triple option is badass. Absolutely. One way from 100 subs, y'all. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. We got it. Boom. We got it, brother. We got it. Let's go, Peach County Trojans. They did win. In case you don't know, we love all of this, whether it's high school, little league, junior high, well, they call it middle school, college, all of it. We love it all, you guys. Indy still rocks. Boy, I tell you what, you so undercover, it ain't even funny. It ain't even funny. Stop hating. Well, I tell you what, stop hiding in the closet. But that's going to do it. Like I said, I just got this huge gush in my heart because Talk Like a Champion's growing, and it's all because of great fans like yourself. The Format Podcast, I will be in touch. So, guys, I will be putting their link down in mine. I will be checking them out and seeing what we can do as far as a pod and seeing if we can't come together and see if we can't talk about some things and do a collaboration. But guys, I hope you stay safe. Make sure you comment your name if you're a first-time subscriber. Make sure that you also comment so we can stay in dialogue, like the Irishman, the Irish Marine. Thank you so much, my friend. And the Format Podcast, I will be in contact with you. Make sure you go to the Facebook page at Talk Like a Champion and the group. Join that group and also add us as a friend. Finally, make sure you go to my Instagram so you can keep up with all the shenanigans at Mr. CeeLo during and off season. But until we meet again, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun rise warm upon your face. May the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.